Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachade Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Jai Ashtotra Shatashvesham His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, Text 51. Shama Shon Yadi Rochishnu Dukala Swarna Mekalam Samachar Vangrir Changoru Nimna Janu Sudarshanam Shama Shon Yadi Rochishnu Dukala Swarna Mekalam Samachar Vangri Jan Guru Nimna Janu Sudarshanam Shama Shon Yadi Rochishnu Dukala Swarna Mekalam Samachar Vangri Jan Guru Nimna Janu Sudarshanam Shama, blackish. Shoni, lower part of the waist. Adi, extra. Rochishnu, pleasing. Dukula, Dukula, garments. Swarna, golden. Mekalam, belt. Sama, symmetrical. Charu, beautiful. Angri, lotus feet. Janga, calves. Uru, thighs. Nimna, lower. Janu, knees. Sudarshanam, very beautiful. The lower part of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments, and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful. Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. Purport. Lord Shiva is one of the 12 great authorities mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Text 20. These authorities are Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali, Vyasaki, or Shukadeva Goswami, and Yamaraj. The impersonalists who generally worship Lord Shiva should learn of the transcendental Satchidananda Vigraha of the Lord. Here Lord Shiva kindly describes the details of the Lord's bodily features. Thus the impersonalist's argument that the Lord has no form cannot be accepted under any circumstance. So I'll read one more. Padasharat Padma Palasha Rochisha Nakad Yubirna Tar Agam Vindunvata Pradarshaya Sviyam Apashta Sadvasam Padam Guru Marga Gurus Tamojasham. My dear Lord, your 2 lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like 2 blossoming petals of the lotus flower which grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as the spiritual master. Purport. Lord Shiva has thus described the bodily features of the Lord authoritatively. Now he wants to see the lotus feet of the Lord. When a devotee wants to see the transcendental form of the Lord, he begins his meditation on the Lord's body by first looking at the feet of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the transcendental sound form of the Lord. And the 12 cantos are divided in accordance with the transcendental form of the Lord. The first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam are called the 2 lotus feet of the Lord. It is therefore suggested by Lord Shiva that one should first try to see the lotus feet of the Lord. This also means that if one is serious about reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he must begin by seriously studying the first and second cantos. The beauty of the lotus feet of the Lord is compared to the petals of a lotus flower which grows in the autumn season. By nature's law, in autumn the dirty or muddy waters of rivers and lakes become very clean. At that time, the lotus flowers growing in the lakes appear very bright and beautiful. The lotus flower itself is compared to the lotus feet of the Lord, and the petals are compared to the nails of the feet of the Lord. The nails of the feet of the Lord are very bright, as Brahma Samhita testifies, Ananda Chinmaya Sa Ujjvala Vigrahasa. Every limb of the transcendental body of the Lord is made of an Ananda Chinmaya Sat Ujjvala. Thus, every limb is eternally bright. As sunshine dissipates the darkness of this material world, the effulgence emanating from the body of the Lord immediately dries up the darkness in the heart of the conditioned soul. In other words, everyone serious about understanding the transcendental science and seeing the transcendental form of the Lord must first of all attempt to see the lotus feet of the Lord by studying the first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. When one sees the lotus feet of the Lord, all kinds of doubts and fears within the heart are vanquished. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that in order to make spiritual progress, one must become fearless. Abhayam sattva samshuddhi. Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, text 1. Fearfulness is the result of material involvement. It is also said in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 37, Bhayam dutiya biniveshatasyat. Fearfulness is a creation of the bodily concept of life. As long as one is absorbed in the thought that he is this material body, he is fearful. And as soon as one is freed from this material conception, he becomes Brahmabhuta, or self-realized, and immediately becomes fearless. Brahmabhuta prasannatma, Chapter 18, Text 54 of Bhagavad Gita. Without being fearless, one cannot be joyful. The bhaktas, the devotees, are fearless and always joyful because they are constantly engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. It is also said, Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangha sya jayate. Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 20. By practicing Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, one becomes fearless and joyful. Unless one becomes fearless and joyful, he cannot understand the science of God. Bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangha sya jayate. This verse refers to those who are completely liberated from the fearfulness of this material world. When one is so liberated, he can really understand the transcendental features of the form of the Lord, as will be clear in the following verses. By doing so, one can become really liberated and enjoy spiritual bliss. It is also stated, Om Jnanatabadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Lord is the supreme spiritual master, and the bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord is also a spiritual master. The Lord from within enlightens the devotees by the effulgence of the nails of his lotus feet, and his representative, the spiritual master, enlightens from without. Only by thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and always taking the spiritual master's advice can one advance in spiritual life and understand Vedic knowledge. Yasya deve pada bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyate kahita sharta prakashante mahatmanaha. The Vedas, Svetashvatara Upanishad 6:23, enjoin that for one who has unflinching faith in the lotus feet of the Lord, as well as in the spiritual master, the real import of Vedic knowledge can be revealed. Om Jnanatabadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karitavachalam Pangam Langayate Ginim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitadanam Vancha Kapudurabhishta Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yep, the kitchen is a breeding ground of interesting conversations, sometimes. All right, so I'll read the translations again, 51 and 52. The lower part of the Lord's waist is dark and covered with yellow garments, and a belt bedecked with golden embroidery work. His symmetrical lotus feet and the calves, thighs, and joints of his legs are extraordinarily beautiful. Indeed, the Lord's entire body appears to be well built. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are so beautiful that they appear like two blossoming petals of the lotus flower which grows during the autumn season. Indeed, the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that they immediately dissipate all the darkness in the heart of a conditioned soul. My dear Lord, kindly show me that form of yours which always dissipates all kinds of darkness in the heart of a devotee. My dear Lord, you are the supreme spiritual master of everyone. Therefore, all conditioned souls covered with the darkness of ignorance can be enlightened by you as the spiritual master. So on one particular occasion, devotees would ask Prabhupada all different types of questions. And Prabhupada would very patiently answer them in person. and also in letters. Yeah, but in some cases he would say, read my books, because he said, the best of me is in my books. or he would say, contact your local GBC or senior devotees. So that's instructive for us. It's not that absolutely every question we have has to be answered by our Diksha spiritual master. But on one particular case, devotees asked Prabhupada about what's the most important verse in all the Vedic literature. Does anybody remember what he said? In the Vedic literature. They're all most important. Those are, if we could follow that, the formula, Trinadapi, Suniche, Napatodapi, that's the humble as a blade of grass, tall as a tree, then we'll achieve success. And what do you say? Always remember Krishna, never forget him, we'll achieve success. So there's many, you could say, important verses, or Omigana. But it's in this purport. He said, Yasya para bhaktir that for one who has firm faith in Krishna and in the spiritual master, then the real import of Vedic knowledge is revealed. So that's important. In this, Prabhupada said most important in this case, on this occasion. Verse, for devotees who want to memorize verses, which all devotees, or I know everybody here has memorized verses, so this is a good one to memorize. Yesterday, Pada Bhakti. And then, but you could say more importantly than memorizing it is to follow it. Because, there's many, as Prabhupada would say, many, like mundane scholars or word, what do you say, wranglers, he says, some say? Word jugglers. In other words, many people who know the Bhagavad Gita, they know so many verses, so many verses from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the works of the six Goswamis, but are they following it? And a lot of the times they're not. So we want to memorize it, but more importantly, we want to follow it. This Yasyadeve Pada Bhaktir, that we should have faith in our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and our personal spiritual masters, those of us who aren't direct disciples, and also in full faith, and also faith in the Vedic literature. Faith in Krishna. Faith in Krishna and Guru. And this is important because this is, you could say, the fuel that will keep one going throughout one's life. This will give one the ability to actually do something meaningful with one's life in Krishna consciousness. And for those who don't have faith, they can't. It's like they're running on half tank, or quarter tank, or sometimes E. Running on empty. You could run on E for a while, but eventually it runs out. Maybe some of you have the experience. You've tested your gas tank, right? How far can I go on E? Anyone had that experience? Yeah. Yeah. And probably some of us have ran out of gas. Has anybody ran out of gas here? Yeah, I ran out of gas. I could say, yeah. So, kind of pushing it too much. The fuel for us is faith, but in order to have the faith, one aspect of having faith is we have to give up having faith in something else, namely the illusory energy of the Lord. So you could say that the Hare Krishna movement, or ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it's a faith-breaking movement. And it's breaking people's faith in illusion, in Maya, and the different aspects of illusion. And this is what Prabhupada's books are doing. So if you want to keep your faith, if we want to keep our faith in illusion, then better not read Prabhupada's books. Better not associate or hear classes, because our faith will be broke. Faith in illusion will be, and therefore, right? Rupa Goswami, he has that famous verse about Krishna on the bank of the Yamuna, which I haven't memorized, but Dravida Prabhu has. So we could humbly ask him if he could. That if you want to enjoy family, friend, yeah, maybe you could pass him the mic there, Jamal. It's nice. Sanskrit.
Smerang Bangi Choyapadachitam Sachi Vistirna Drishtim Vangshinyastadadakishlaya Mudralam Chandrakena Govindakyam Hatitadmitake Tirtopakante Ma Prekshistas Tabayadisake Bandhu Sange Stiranga. Let me give a translation. So one gopi is speaking to another. He says, my dear friend, on the bank of Keshigat is standing this beautiful Krishna with his smiling face, bending in 3 places. He has his flute placed nicely to his lips, which are shining because of the moonlight. And he's standing in Keshigat and very attractive, but don't go there if you want to still enjoy family life.
Yeah. Love, friendship, materialistic love, society, friendship, family, yeah. Don't go and see Krishna if you want to enjoy those things. So, we see that those who come in contact with Krishna, they lose attraction to those things. Means those things are not their life anymore, but their life is Krishna-centered, God-centered. And that's good. That's the nature of the living entity, according to the Vedic literature, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, other Jivas, Shubhor, Krishna, and Nityadas. We're eternal servants of Krishna. So the faith in materialism, it needs to be broken. And also it does happen. Many people throughout the whole world, they're able just to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and give up so many things, actually, so many material things, opportunities. Just like some may say that, well, I didn't really give up much personally. I didn't have a lot of money, or I didn't have a lot of whatever, this, that, so many different things, position in materialistic society, but just giving the opportunity up, just giving the race up, that's actually that's something. Because if one has youth and some intelligence and some energy, they could try to make it in this world. But giving that up, that's very impressive, actually. And that is, Krishna sees that. Krishna is very happy with that. For someone who gives their youth, especially, to Krishna consciousness. And their whole life, continuing. And many devotees have done that throughout the world. They've given up their youth for Krishna consciousness. And they're not losers, they're gainers. They're never losers. Because sometimes people think, oh, well, you could become Krishna conscious when you're old, right? Just kind of wait, put it on the back burner. But as we all know, you put it on the back burner, but then it just, yeah, it just, waiting too long. As they say, procrastination is the thief of time. One devotee used to quote that to me all the time, Madhu Mangal. You say, procrastination is a thief of time. I don't know. Anyways, I guess he thought I had some issue with that. But I forgot what the details were. It was years ago, but hopefully I'm better now. But if we think about it, okay, all the time spent putting something off, procrastinating something, all that time that has been used in procrastination, so many things could have got done, actually. So in that way, procrastination is stealing one's time. Because with all that time, so many things could have got done, but procrastination is stealing it. And Prabhupada quotes this actually in the Bhagavad Gita. He not exactly, but he mentions that but he mentions that in a purport that sometimes something that could be done very quickly is put on. It will take years, which is actually quite interesting. And sometimes you think, "Oh, this is an exaggeration." Like, "Oh, it's just an It's not exaggeration. It's true. Something that could be done within a matter of minutes, hours, days, a year, could go on for years. I mean, just think about in relation to one's becoming Krishna conscious. I mean, people put it off, people put it off, people put it off, and it could be theoretically done a lot quicker than people do it. They put it off for years or lifetimes. Just one little example, but sometimes your bead bag gets dirty or something. Sometimes people have one bead bag, two bead, three, whatever. But let's say your bead bag gets dirty, you put it aside, and okay, I'll wash it. Eventually, I'll wash. A week passes, a month passes. You're using a clean one, but you got your dirty ones sitting there on the side, and a long time could pass, just kind of like putting it off. But then when you go and you do it, go down to the sink right here on the patio, put a little soap on it, give it a few scrub, get the little dirt out, put it out to dry. It's done. It's very quick. So there's so many examples like that. Things. So yeah, giving up the opportunities to give up the faith that I will be satisfied in pursuing all my material pursuits. That's very important. That's very important faith to have. Just like people have faith in their financial situation. Okay, I'll be very well financially situated. But then what if something happens? Lose the money, somebody steals the money, there's some economic disaster that happens, like similar to what's going on now. Some people lose their job. I mean, it's very, the grounds are very shaky on the material platform. Or sometimes people, they put all this faith in like romantic relationships. Just like, anyway, someone close to my family, there's pictures of him, like keep pictures. He's close, but he would always have a new girlfriend, like very often. And you see so many different pictures of him, different girlfriends, and he was a handsome guy, and he had attractive girlfriends. But interesting enough, he would always tell my mother and a few of the family members, "Yeah, she's the one. She's the one." Like every time, she's just perfect, right? But then some days would pass or weeks would pass, and then they'd see him all kind of like with his head down and all depressed, and then they go, "Hey, Glenn, what's wrong? What's the deal?" Well, I don't think she's not the one, and and she's not as perfect as I thought she was. She's so many imperfections were there, Yeah, and she also saw imperfections in him, of course. So yeah, that's the thing. That's what happens. You see the imperfections. You live close to someone, you see their imperfections. Just like one devotee made an interesting point one time. He said that if you really get close to the material energy, you see how ugly it is in comparison with the spiritual energy. Like, for example, getting analyzing what is the body made out of. If you, handsome or beautiful, this and that. But if you get really close and you analyze what it's all made out of, or just getting close, someone's face, may look really, I don't know, whatever, attractive. You get really close and it doesn't look, very attractive. Yeah, see the pore. So, So yeah, he would always, oh, this is one, and then he realized imperfection and be all depressed. But on, he kept on going like that. And then, it's sad actually, but this, you could say, drive for finding the right one and, finding a perfect relationship. It's not that he was the only one looking for a perfect relationship. There's also other guys looking. And as the Bhagavatam says in the 11th canto, when you're about you're learning enlightenment by the natural path. The book was written by Sridharananda Goswami, based on the 11th canto. So learning from different animals, and you can learn from an elephant. What you learn from elephant is that male elephant's there, and then there's a female elephant there. She's got her fake eyebrows on, not fake eyebrows, fake eyelashes on, or whatever. She's nice bell on her tail. Yeah, a nice bell on her tail or something. Yeah. So the male elephant, he becomes attracted to the female elephant, and then you have the elephant hunters there, and they dig a big ditch. So then the male elephant comes running after the female elephant, and then he falls into the covered well, a covered ditch, and then they capture him like that. So that's being explained that one should be careful, control their senses, but also it's mentioned there that sometimes there may be a male elephant and a female elephant, and then another male elephant will come and kill the male elephant, trying to get the female elephant. So in this particular case, this person, what goes on in animal society goes on in human society as well. He was with another girlfriend of his, and a guy got envious. He got envious, and he just got a gun and shot him, and he ended his life. Sad story. But these, you could say, are meant to be instructive for everybody else who hasn't fallen into that situation, that we have to be careful. So financially, relationship, so many, if we look at practically anything on the material platform, it's very shaky. But within Krishna consciousness, it's real, and it will produce real fearfulness and real happiness, real joy. And therefore, we're being advised to strive for that instead. To break this faith is important, and because without breaking this faith, we'll be constantly cheated over and over and over again. Just like recently someone tried to cheat our Mukunda Charna here. Maybe some of you heard about that. He was trying to sell something for Prabhu here and on Craigslist, Vijay Prabhu, and somebody tried to cheat him. You posted it for, okay, we're selling this item for $220. Is it? $200. And someone texted Mukunda Charna, okay, yeah, sure, I'll buy it, and whatever the details were. And then the person who was going to buy this item, they sent a check to the temple, $2,000, a fake check, $2,200. And then they somehow messaged Mukunda and said, hey, I sent a check to you. Of course, who sends checks nowadays? That's a clue right there. Not many people use checks nowadays. People are using Venmo and PayPal and whatever, credit cards. But the guy said, I sent a check to you for $2,200, but my wife, she made a mistake. She put too many zeros. It was supposed to be 220 or whatever, but she did 2,000. So what I need you to do, I need you to take that check. I need you to go to your bank, deposit it immediately, because I need my money back or whatever. I need money. So deposit it, and then once you deposit this check that I sent you by accident, you Venmo me $2,000. That was as far as I understood. And if it wasn't true, makes sense. It's a good story. You Venmo me $2,000. Now, and this was like a scam. And you could say that maybe some people fall for it. They're like, oh, well, yeah, wife, she made a mistake, and go deposit it. I'll Venmo them $2,000. And the question is, one, who sends checks these days? Very, very rare. And two, if you're asking me to Venmo you $2,000, why didn't you Venmo me the $200 to begin with? You know? Yeah, or I'll do it as soon as the check clears. So in this way, one is people, and maybe it works. People are cheated out of their money, scammed, because they're lacking the sharpness or the ability to think it out. So what did he do? He wasn't cheated. He didn't fall for it, thankfully, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, but the illusory energy, or you could Maya, or the different aspects of Maya. Oh yeah, well just you just try to enjoy your material life and just try to enjoy materially like everybody else, and I'll pay you back. I'll give you everything you want. It's like a promise. It's a false promise. And many people are convinced of that throughout the world. Practically, yeah, everybody. Besides for a few people. So we want to develop our intelligence so we're not cheated, our spiritual intelligence. And that's what it means to be a disciple. A disciple means to develop one's spiritual intelligence. And as Prabhupada, or as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, Yadadikataka Krishna Badesh, that wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna, and this way become a guru. So a guru cannot be easily cheated. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't cheat others, and they shouldn't be easily cheated themselves. So similarly, a good disciple is not like that. They're not easily cheated by the illusory energy. So here it's mentioning that one should have faith in the spiritual master, but spiritual master means they're not a cheater and they're not easily cheated. They're firmly situated in the right ideas, Krishna conscious ideas and practices. But sometimes we see that within the devotee realm, devotees, they don't exactly like say they're gurus per se, but they try to give advice as if they were one's guru. Now, of course, a humble Vaishnava, which by definition a Vaishnava is humble, will take advice from anyone. But still, we have to be careful, because it's a question, is it Guru and Krishna speaking, or is it the person's pride speaking? Is it the person's false ego speaking? Is it the person's misconception speaking? It's hard to say sometimes. Just like I was in Vrindavan some time ago, and this devotee, one brahmachari there, I don't know if you, anyways, I don't know him, and he doesn't know me. But interesting enough, I mean, one of the first things he said to me was, you should come and stay in Vrindavan for at least 7 years, really get the experience. Now, that's his opinion. But one thing is that, first of all, he doesn't know me. He doesn't know my situation. He doesn't know what I'm doing, my service. He knows nothing about me, and I don't know nothing about him. So him proposing some serious ideas, some life-changing ideas, is just improper. You don't do that with people. Sometimes people tell you, you met them for 5 minutes, and they're saying, yeah, I think you should take sannyas, or yeah, I think you should marry. It's like, you don't know me. Like, why are you saying this? It doesn't make any sense. So again, is it Guru or Krishna, or is it one's false ego or pride speaking? And people who say things like this, I mean, I have a hard time believing that it's not coming from an improper place, that it's coming from a place of like, oh, I'm superior. You're kind of like wasting your time out there in America. You could be here, really, relishing Krishna consciousness. But I was thinking later that, okay, you're telling me come live in Vrindavan for 7 years. Okay, then you come live in America for 7 years. Come preach in America. Which, in my personal, I would say, my conviction, is that preaching in America, it has a special, it's special. It has a special nectar, has a special, it's wonderful. Why? Because it's a very fallen place. So many jagais and madais, so much opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness, and it's a wonderful place to do it, and people really need it. So it's like you're going on to a place like you're in a battlefield or something, and there's you're trying to assist in saving these people, and it produces a special happiness, and there's a we could say special mercy that comes from it. Frontline soldiers get frontline mercy. Get special mercy. So what I'm saying is that we have to be careful who we take seriously, actually, and therefore we have to develop intelligence to know and not be easily swayed. And in this way, if we just follow, it's very simple. If we just follow our spiritual master advice, it says one who's always taken the spiritual master's advice, they make advancement in spiritual life, and they understand Vedic knowledge. So whatever things we want to do in our Krishna consciousness, we want to make sure that is in line with our spiritual master. Not that it's just like some idea we have. Just like my spiritual master, he was in Juhu, very difficult situation. The book's coming out soon, relatively. Be about 600 pages, maybe 700 pages. Wonderful book. Yeah, it's Page Turner. He's a great, so my spiritual master, of course, but he's a great writer and devotee. While he was there in Juhu, devotees would come through, and there was some devotees, and they told him that, you should come to America and try to go to the universities, but Prabhupada wanted him to stay there. And he knew that, but this devotee was influencing him. And then he went up to Prabhupada, and he asked Prabhupada about it. And Prabhupada was getting a massage. And he said, "Oh, Prabhupada, I'm kind of confused. This devotee said this, and maybe I should go, and I don't know if I'm really..." And then Prabhupada, he was very, very patient with him, and he told him that, as far as I remember, that if the spiritual master, if a disciple's giving the spiritual master a massage, like massaging legs or something, left leg, and the disciple thinks, okay, now I want to go to the right leg, right? I want to massage the right leg. But if the spiritual master wants you to continue massaging the left leg, then you should massage the left leg. So that was a simple. So he said, and then he said, okay, I understand. You want me to stay? So he just offered his obeisances, and he left. And he did it, and he stayed. So, anyways, there's so many wonderful examples of devotees following their spiritual master and being successful. So we should try to do that. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments?
Mars, do you have a question? No? Okay. I have a question.
Okay. Well, you're standing up. This is pretty serious.
Well, that's good.
I know. I'm just
good. Oh. So you're discussing how Krishna consciousness, or the practice of Krishna consciousness, breaks one's faith in illusion or material enjoyment.
Yeah.
And, say somebody, after practicing Krishna consciousness for some time, however many years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, a year, they understand the futility of seeking or they understand the futility of material pursuit, and they don't have much faith that they would be so happy, but that seed of enjoyment is still there. Like, how do you
Yeah.
balance, or what would you say about that,
All right.
that situation?
Yeah, there's in the 11th canto, I think it's Uddhava Gita, Krishna, he mentions this pretty much verbatim, interesting enough. But he says that devotees having, in essence, is a paraphrase, but devotees having developed faith in narrations about me and understanding that all material enjoyment leads to suffering, but still unable to give it up completely, they should engage in my devotional service with great faith and determination and be happy. And of course there's a purport there explaining it, but yeah, it's, you could say, rare that somebody is able to completely give up their material attachments just like that, with like a drop of a pin. It's not so easy. So therefore, in many cases, or you could say from one angle of vision, there's brahmachari training in which one gets trained as a brahmachari in the sense control and all that. And then if one is, you could say, having desires for association with a woman or marriage, which you could say is not absolutely necessary, really, then one could enter that household stage. And in that stage, it's like, you could say, it's a, Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavatam purposes, it's a concession for a little more sense gratification. Of course, that doesn't mean unrestricted, but it means some more sense gratification, in which one is, you could say, working out their material desires. And then, but they're supposed to come out on the other end more detached as a vanaprastha. And then, in some cases, as a sannyasi, it means they're able just to become renounced from it all. So yeah, it's like, like gradually, one is throughout one's life working on giving up their material attachments, desires for sense gratification, which, of course, one can, from the brahmachari ashram, just work on their material desires and not have to enter certain stages of life. They could just go stay a brahmachari, go to be a sannyasi, and that's happens sometimes. But yeah, it's understood that this, it's called Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita purport, my tunya agra. It says the shackles of sex life or sexual attraction, shackles. So pretty much when people are talking about material desires, in essence, that's what's going on. Nadanam, najanam, nasudanam. Wealth, women, followers, these are all the same facets of the same material desire, it's a sexual desire. So, yeah. But anyways, Krishna, in that verse, he's saying just engage in Krishna consciousness, be happy. And hopefully gradually we give up all these material desires. That's the idea. And it will happen. It will happen if we're persistent. Just like Bill Mangala Thakur. I mean, he had some issues in the beginning. It wasn't like smooth sailing. He had some severe issues. Namely, in the beginning of his life, he was a chastity prostitute. I mean, that's an issue. That's a bad problem. I mean, that's not like a respectable thing. And then he was able to, get rid of that attachment. Chintamani said, you have so much devotion, attachment to me, even if you had a slight attachment and devotion you have for me, if you had that towards Krishna, you'd be a pure devotee, So he went to Vrindavan, but on the way to Vrindavan, he also had some issues. Attracting some person's wife, eventually, he took out his eyes. But he made his way to Vrindavan, and he became a pure devotee. So much so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would read his literature and glorify him. So and there's so many examples like that. Jagai and Madai, so many examples. So yeah. But anyways, I could show you that verse and purport. Is any last? Yes.
If I have a Hare Krishna, if I have a light and I put a sheet of red in front of it, what happens to the light? It appears red. So we have to realize, I can guarantee you talk to Vijay, you talk to me, you talk to Dravida Prabhu, and you talk to Balaram, he's coming to that stage. All of that, you're a young man, and you're going to be very passionate. It's just the nature of the game. It's just the nature of the body. You've got a Corvette that wants to go, whatever it is, 0 to 60 in 100 feet. It's just the way the body is. That's why we were saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas at 24. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took sannyas at 24. It was a kick on the face of Maya. So it gets much easier. Now you're just like holding these wild horses. But Chanakya Pandit, and we'll end here, at least from my side, Chanakya Pandit says one should never give up the temporary for the permanent. Never give up the temporary for the permanent. Why? Anyone know his answer?
Lose both.
You'll lose both. So, you think, well, Krishna consciousness, this is tough, I'm just going to, whatever. I'll go out, get a job. But it doesn't come easy. It's not easy. And before you know it, you're 45 years old, with a fat wife you're not really happy with, kids who don't appreciate you, a house and a mortgage, and you wonder, how did I get here? What happened? And then it's not so easy to dig your way out and come back to Krishna consciousness. It's not easy. So if one can just there's no sumedasa, sufficient intelligence, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. And if you have to just look at the thing, walk yourself down the path. Okay. Like when they say, ask why 5 questions, it's a simple management thing. Well, why is the offering's late? Well, why? Well, because I got back to the temple late. Well, why? Well, I didn't, Well, why? And if you ask 4 or 5 times, you actually get to the root of the thing. And if you just think about it, what's actually driving me? What's actually going to be the result of this activity? And as Balaram very nicely answered, there's a gentleman's way of doing things. Prabhupada said, at least be a gentleman. Fine. Prabhupada was talking to, and I forget who the devotee was, it'll come to me in a moment, looking out his window, and the man was a brahmachari talking about marriage. Prabhupada said, there's so many women. Find one, take care of her, and be a nice devotee. So fine, you want to get married, but how are you going to support a wife? How are you going to support a family? How are you going to support kids? There was a nice brahmachari here, and he's still a nice devotee, and to this day I respect him. He got married. His second child had his foot deformed, and they could fix it. The kid had 14 different surgeries. Aniruddha, it's worth glorifying. Aniruddha Prabhu went out and got a job doing construction in Nevada in the sun for 3 years to pay for that kid's. And that kid can walk fine now. Do you know him, Aniruddha's son? Nice kid. He comes to the LA Temple. Very nice. Worth the investment. So don't think, we'll end here. I keep saying that. But there was a very nice brahmachari. His name is Dhruva Maharaj. He was remember Dhruva. Everyone likes Dhruva, So Dhruva and I shared an office. I was a householder those days. And it'd be 8 o'clock at the night, and he was our treasurer. He'd be wrapping up. I'd be wrapping up. And I'd say, Dhruv, what are you going to do now? He said, well, I think I'll go down and lead the evening kirtan, arti, and take a little prasadam and read Krishna book. Sounds like fun, huh? He said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to go home. My wife hasn't seen me all day long. He's got a whole bunch of issues. The washing machine's backed up and broken. And my son's got an ear infection, so I probably got to take him to the hospital. So I know where I'm going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be at the hospital spending a bunch of money I don't have for my kid with his 3rd ear infection. He gets another one, he's going to go deaf. And Dhruva's going to be sleeping like a log after, chanting for the deities and taking a nice feast with puris. You got to be intelligent.
What about that one with Dhruva Maharaj? You're saying he was thinking about getting married, but...
Oh, Dhruva's a classic. And what finally happened to Dhruva, he was, as a sidelight, he got severe hepatitis. And the way he got it, we couldn't figure it out because there was no intravenous drugs, there's no unprotected sex, there's no... No, he got HV, he whatever it is, but it destroyed his liver. Ultimately, he got a liver transplant, and he's in Denver, and he helps out the Denver temple. He does all their accounts and stuff like that. He's a nice guy. So Dhruva decided he wanted to get married, but he was our treasurer, and he was so responsible that remember, he used to go to night school. He took it, he thought, well, I'll become an accountant. I can work as an accountant. I'll do the temples. But because he went to SDSU. And it took him like 7-8 years to get through accounting school to get his degree so that he could, because he said, I don't want to just go work as a night guard, and not have any money for my family. But because he was so responsible, by the time he went through school, 7 years, and got his degree, he said, I'm too old to get married. So he never got married. Fine. You just have to be intelligent and taking advice. I don't know, why is this thing so loud? You're trying to reach the moon? If you're going to buy a computer, you ask 5 or 6 people. Check, how's it doing? How's it rated? All the different things. You go buy a car. What to speak of, you're going to buy a house, man. You think about that like anything. People get married. Well, she's cute. I like the way she looks. Should all work out fine. Well, classic. What could go wrong? Well, I'll tell you about. There's a list that when my brother got married, I met the priest, and he was a Greek Orthodox priest, and he was a nice guy. And he said, I give him the talk. I said, what's the talk? And I give it to every household, everybody who wants to get married. And it's a list of about 14 questions that you should talk about with your spouse. Who manages the money? Who disciplines the children? How important are family gatherings? In fact, some people are just not into it, and some people are really into it. And you have this talk about these 14, 15 questions. 25% decide, well, we're not matched. They never even ask the questions. He said, you'd be amazed the number. Who's going to manage the finance? There was a devotee family, a devotee man, devotee girl. She was a banker. He worked for the BBT. He was a big manager at the BBT. He thought she was making a bunch of money as a banker. So he was going to, she was going to support him printing art books, Krishna conscious art books. He was going to retire from the BBT, and she was going to support him. Now, she didn't like working as a banker. She thought, I'm going to marry this guy who's got a good income, being supported nicely by the temple, and I can retire from the bank and be a painter. They both thought the other person was going to support him, and they never talked about it. How well do you think that marriage lasted? How long? They lasted 2.5 years.
What about the long aisle? You talking about the...
What's the long?
The priest said, they asked, why do you have such a long aisle?
Oh, aisle. Yeah. Oh, that was across from the temple in Chicago. I was the GBC of Chicago at that time. There's a church, beautiful church, St. Jerome's, built by the Irish Catholics. Beautiful church. And it has the longest aisle east of the Mississippi, the main aisle. And I got to know him because we would rent their parking lot. We would rent on John Massamy and stuff like that because we needed a big park. Fine, they made a little cash. He said the bingo never brought in this money. He was actually a nice guy. So I asked him, why is the aisle so long? Here comes the bride, and the father gives, and they walk down the aisle. I said, why is the aisle so long? He looked both ways and said, plenty of time to change your mind. So you got to be smart.
Yeah.
And
Funny.
if you do it, if you get married, take advice and have a plan and know what the real issues are. People just jump off the cliff 90 years. Think before you do it. How are you going to support a wife and a family? You know? Well, go to college. Sure, you go to college, 4 years in college, and you really got to get a master's degree, 6 years, and you're there, and all the ladies are half dressed. You don't marry a devotee girl. You fall in love with a cute little thing next to you in accounting class who's not interested in Krishna consciousness at all. I know a lot of devotees. They just, when they left Krishna consciousness, got a job, married the girl, they got a job doing here, she was the secretary, or she was the boss, or whatever. Now they're stuck. They want to come back to Krishna consciousness, but that person's not interested. You know the saying is, a devotee said, if only I'd done this, geez, if I'd only done that, if I'd only, instead of going that way, I'd gone this way. And this guy from Arkansas said, son, there's more than one way to be wrong. We go, if I just gone this way, it all would have worked out. No, it would have had to be set up.
That's really funny.
We got karma, we have destiny. So just be smart.
I did,
Be smart, take good advice, know what you're getting into, and work with the devotees to help you.
I'm just going to repeat that that was a good one, but the Mars was saying that there was a guy out, where was Arkansas. He's a nice guy, and some of them say, oh well, if it would have went this way, it would have worked out, or this way would have worked. If I've only done this, right? And then he said, well, son, that there's many ways to be wrong. It was a good point, But yeah, just the last is that, to be intelligent means to take advice. That's what it means to be intelligent. And, because people have went through situations and they've made mistakes, you could say. And so if we hear from those people, we could learn without going through the mistakes. As the Prabhupada says, intelligence from hearing. So, all right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.